The Zarkonian city was always bright on the upper levels, where the towers glowed with silver light and the rich walked across glass bridges in robes of silk. But down below, under the steaming ducts and dripping pipes, there was a place where no one looked for beauty. That was where Sarah first saw her. A little alien girl with green-gray skin, long tangled hair, and hollow eyes, crawling on her knees to pick scraps off the floor. The girl pressed her face close to a piece of thrown bread like a stray animal, chewing as if she had not eaten for days. Around her, people walked by without stopping. Some looked at her with disgust. Others simply ignored her. Sarah, a human merchant's daughter, had followed her father Chun to the lower bazaar for the first time. Chun was busy with trade accounts, speaking with a tall Zarkonian vendor about metal coils. Sarah was supposed to wait, but her eyes kept wandering. She had always been curious, too curious for her father's patience. That curiosity is what led her to the shadowy corner near the broken vent where the alien girl crouched. At first, Sarah thought the girl was some wild creature. But then she saw her small fingers, her fragile frame, and the way she hid her face whenever footsteps came close. She wasn't an animal. She was a child, maybe 7 or 8 years old. Sarah crouched, her heart tightening. "Hey, are you okay?" she whispered. The girl flinched, clutching the crust of bread tighter. Her eyes were wide, black pupils swimming in pale silver irises. She didn't answer. She only stared at Sarah with a mix of fear and shame. Chun's voice echoed behind. "Sarah, stay close. Don't wander." Sarah ignored him for a moment. She wanted to speak again, but the alien girl shook her head quickly and stuffed the bread into her mouth. She chewed fast, like she was afraid it would be taken away. Then she bent lower and licked the floor where the crumbs had fallen. Sarah's chest ached. No child should have to eat like that. Not anywhere. Just then, a group of Zarkonian boys passed by. They laughed when they saw the girl. One of them, Zex, tossed a piece of spoiled fruit at her head. "Look at the little dog," he sneered. "Scrap eater." His friends laughed louder. The girl whimpered, but did not fight back. She simply curled her small body tighter and grabbed whatever crumbs she could save. Sarah's fists clenched. She didn't know much about Zarkonian rules, but she knew cruelty when she saw it. She stepped forward before she even thought about it. "Stop." Her voice rang sharper than she expected. The boys looked at her in surprise. "A human?" Zex said with a mocking grin. "What's this? A human girl protecting garbage?" "She's not garbage," Sarah snapped. Her cheeks burned red, but she didn't step back. "She's a person." One of the boys laughed, but another one, Ninjum, a quiet half-Zircon boy, looked uneasy. He tugged Zex's arm. "Come on, leave it. We'll get in trouble if the guards see." Zex smirked, but finally turned away with his group. Their laughter faded as they disappeared into the crowd. Sarah turned back to the girl. Her small hands were shaking, her face smeared with crumbs. Sarah lowered her voice, softer this time. "You don't have to eat like that. What's your name?" The girl didn't speak. She only stared with those trembling silver eyes. Sarah thought for a moment and smiled gently. "That's okay. You don't have to tell me. But listen." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small sweet bun Chun had bought her earlier. She held it out. "Here, it's for you." The girl's eyes widened. She looked at the bun as though it were a jewel. Slowly, with hesitant fingers, she took it. She sniffed it once and bit. Her whole body seemed to sigh with relief as the taste filled her. For a moment, the fear faded from her face. Sarah's smile grew. "See? You're not a dog. You're not trash. You're a princess. A hungry princess who just needed someone to see her." The girl stopped chewing, startled. "Princess?" she whispered. Her voice was raspy, as if unused. "Yes," Sarah said firmly. "A princess. And princesses shouldn't eat off the floor." Something flickered in the girl's eyes. Something fragile, but real hope. She clutched the bun like a treasure. From behind, Sean called again, louder this time. "Sarah, where are you?" Sarah looked back toward the bazaar. Then she looked at the girl once more. "I have to go, but I'll come back. I promise." For the first time, the alien girl's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. And that was the beginning. The next day, Sarah could not stop thinking about the alien girl. She lay awake all night, hearing the sound of crumbs falling on the floor, the laughter of Zex and his friends, the look of shame in those trembling silver eyes. By morning, she knew she had to go back. Chun was busy again, preparing crates for trade with the Zarkonian merchants. He told Sarah to stay inside the stall, to count the small copper tokens, and to not cause trouble. She nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. When Chun turned his back, she slipped out into the crowd, weaving through the bazaar until she reached the same shadowy vent where she had seen the girl. She was there, curled up, hugging her knees, as though the world was too heavy for her small body. Her lips were dry. Her arms were thinner than Sarah remembered. Sarah's chest ached again. She knelt down carefully. "I came back, like I promised." The girl opened her eyes, blinking as if she couldn't believe it. She sat up slowly. "You came, of course." Sarah smiled. She held up a cloth bundle she had taken from the stall, half a loaf of bread, some dried fruit, and a little jar of broth. "I brought food this time, not scraps." The girl's hands trembled as she reached forward. She took the bread carefully, like she was afraid it might vanish. She bit into it and closed her eyes, sighing with quiet joy. Sarah asked softly, "What's your name? Will you tell me this time?" The girl hesitated, then whispered, "Seo Yan." Sarah grinned. "Seo Yan? That's beautiful. Fits a princess." Seo Yan stared at her, as though no one had ever said her name with kindness before. Her lips parted, and for a moment, Sarah thought she might cry. But Seo Yan only nodded and kept eating. From the corner of her eye, Sarah noticed someone watching them. A tall human boy with dark hair. Jung-hoon, one of her father's hired helpers, stood near the crates. He raised an eyebrow. "Sarah, what are you doing here?" Sarah stiffened. "Nothing, just talking." Jung-hoon stepped closer and saw the alien girl. His face softened. "She looks half-starved." He crouched, lowering his voice. "Sarah, if your father finds out, he'll be angry. The Zarkonians don't want humans mixing with their cast-offs. It could bring trouble." "I don't care," Sarah said quickly. "She's just a child. She needs help." Jung-hoon sighed. "You always do this. Heart first, rules later." But there was no anger in his voice, only quiet admiration. He glanced at Seo Yeon. "Don't worry, little one. We won't hurt you." Seo Yeon shrank back, still afraid, but Sarah reached for her hand. "See? He's safe. He's with me." Jung-hoon looked around carefully. The market was crowded, and a group of armored Zarkonian guards patrolled the walkway. "We should be careful. If Zex or the others see you again, they'll cause trouble." As if his words had summoned them, laughter echoed nearby. Zex and his gang appeared at the corner, tossing fruit between their hands. His eyes narrowed when he saw Sarah and Jung-hoon crouched beside the alien girl. Well, Zex sneered. "The human hat is back. Feeding the dog again?" Sarah stood up, her hands shaking but her voice firm. "Her name is Seo Yan. She's not a dog. She's a princess." The words came out louder than she meant, but they echoed across the bazaar. Several merchants turned their heads. Zex blinked, then laughed harshly. A princess, that? He kicked the dirt near Seo Yeon. She's a gutter rat. Jung Hoon stepped forward, his stance protective. Back off, Zex. But Zex was not alone. Two Zarkonian guards noticed the commotion and began to walk over, heavy boots clanging on the stone floor. Sean's voice rang out then, sharp and commanding. Sarah? He pushed through the crowd, his face tight with anger. What have you done now? Sarah froze. Seo Yeon lowered her head, fear washing over her again. Chun bowed slightly to the approaching guards. My apologies. Children wander. She doesn't understand your laws. The taller guard looked at Seo Yeon with cold eyes. That one has no place here. She belongs to the Zircon Quarter. If she is seen again, there will be punishment. Chun nodded quickly. Understood. The guards turned and walked away, but their warning left the air heavy. Chun grabbed Sarah's arm. Do you want us all thrown out? Do you want trade cut off? That girl is nothing but trouble. Sarah tried to pull free. She's not nothing. She's Seseo Yeon. She's hungry. Chun's voice cut like iron. She is not your problem. But Sarah's eyes burned as she whispered, she's a princess, and she's mine to protect. Chun froze, shocked by her defiance. Jung Hoon watched silently, torn between loyalty to Chun and admiration for Sarah's courage. Seo-Yeon, still clutching the bread, looked up at Sarah with tears glimmering in her silver eyes. For the first time, someone had called her worth something higher than scraps. And even though the city threatened to crush her, in that moment, a seed of hope began to grow. That night, Sarah sat on her bed with her arms wrapped around her knees. She could still hear her father's words echoing, she is not your problem. But Sarah's heart refused to agree. Seo Yin's face, pale and fragile, haunted her. The way she had whispered princess, as though the word was a gift she had never been allowed to touch. Sarah knew she couldn't leave it there. Chun paced in the next room, muttering about trade permits and how humans had to follow Zarkonian rules if they wanted to survive here. No mixing with the Zircon gutter, he said. It will ruin us. Sarah listened silently, biting her lip. She didn't want to fight her father, but she also knew some things were more important than trade. When morning came, Chun left early for the merchant council. Jung Hoon knocked softly at Sarah's door. He carried a small pack slung over his shoulder. If you're thinking of going back, he said, I'm coming with you. Sarah blinked. You believe me? About Seo Yeon? Jung Hoon gave a faint smile. I saw her. She's just a child. Whatever your father says, you were right. She deserves better. Together, they slipped into the lower bazaar. The smell of iron smoke and fried oil clung to the air. They made their way past steaming ducks and broken stalls until they found the vent corner again. Seo Yeon was there, smaller than ever, her head resting on her knees. When she saw Sarah, her whole face lit up with disbelief. You came back, she whispered. I told you I would, Sarah said firmly. She pulled out a bundle Jung Hoon had carried warm bread, a flask of broth, and a clean cloth. Here, eat, and this is for you to keep. She draped the cloth around Seo Yeon's shoulders. It was nothing fancy, just plain white, but on her it looked like a robe. Seo HFY touched it with shaking fingers. For me? Yes, Sarah said. Princesses don't wear rags. For the first time, Seo Yin's smile was wide enough to reach her eyes. She ate slowly this time, savoring each bite. Jung Hoon crouched nearby, watching with quiet approval, but their peace didn't last. Zex appeared again, this time without laughter. His eyes burned with something sharper. Behind him stood two of his friends, and a thin boy named Min-jun, who looked nervous. "Well, the humans really are keeping a pet," Zex sneered. He pointed at Seo-yeon. "The guards warned you. You're breaking the law." Sarah stood, her hands trembling but her voice steady. "She's not a pet. She's Seo-yeon." Zex's grin widened cruelly. "Then let's see what the council thinks. Humans protecting gutter trash? They'll cut your trade, maybe throw you all out." Jung-hoon stepped forward, his stance calm but firm. "You don't scare us, Zex. Go bother someone else." But Zex was already turning away. "We'll see. By tonight, the guards will know." His laughter was harsh, but Min-jun lingered, his eyes darting between Sarah and Seo-yeon. For a second, guilt flickered there before he hurried after the others. Seo-yeon shivered. "They'll come. They'll take me away." Sarah knelt quickly, holding her hands. "No, I won't let them. Do you hear me? You're not going back to the shadows." Jung-hoon looked grim. "Your father will be furious, Sarah. If the guards really come, he might choose trade over everything." Sarah's throat tightened, but she said fiercely, "Then I'll stand in front of them. They'll have to go through me." That night, the threat became real. The Zarkonian guards marched into the bazaar with torches burning blue, their armor gleaming. Chun followed behind them, his face pale, arguing in low tones. Zex walked proudly at their side, pointing toward the vent corridor. Sarah and Jung-hoon were already there with Seo-yeon, standing in front of her like a shield. The crowd gathered quickly, whispering, waiting. The lead guard's voice boomed. "That girl belongs in the Zircon quarter. Humans, step aside." "No," Sarah said, her voice breaking but strong. "She's not a dog. She's not trash. She's a princess. And she stays." A stunned silence fell. Even Chun froze, his mouth half open. The guards looked at each other, unsure how to react to such defiance from a child. Zex smirked, enjoying the spectacle. Jung-hoon planted his feet beside Sarah. "If you want her, you'll have to go through both of us." Seo-yeon trembled behind them, clutching the white cloth. For the first time, she wasn't alone. The crowd murmured louder. Some shook their heads. Others whispered that the human girl had gone mad. But a few eyes softened. A few people seemed to see not a scrap-eater, but a child worth protecting. And in that charged silence, something dangerous and powerful had begun. The torches burned blue against the metal walls, and the whole bazaar seemed to hold its breath. The Zarkonian guards stared at Sarah as though she had spoken blasphemy. A human girl standing against armored soldiers, declaring a gutter child a princess. It was unheard of. Zex folded his arms with a triumphant grin, waiting for her to be dragged away. Chun pushed forward, his face lined with fear and frustration. "Please," he begged the guards, "she's just a child. She doesn't understand your customs. Don't punish us for her foolishness." But Sarah stepped closer, her small body trembling. "It's not foolish. You just don't see her. But I do." She pointed back at Seo-yeon, who clutched the white cloth around her shoulders like it was armor. "She's not trash. She's not a gutter rat. She's a princess." The crowd stirred. Some merchants shook their heads in disbelief, but others whispered quietly. A few faces softened, watching Seo-yeon instead of laughing at her. One of the guards, a tall woman with scars across her cheek, tilted her head. "Princess?" she repeated, her voice laced with irony. "And who decided this?" "I did," Sarah answered, her voice small but steady. "Because no one else would." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Even Min-jun, standing near Zex, lowered his gaze in shame. Zex scowled. Are you blind? Look at her. She's nothing. She eats dirt. Sarah spun on him, her fists tight. No, Zex, you're blind. You can only see dirt. But I see her worth. And one day, you'll regret treating her like less than human. The guard's scarred face shifted slightly, something between amusement and respect. She lowered her torch. Bold words for a human child. Another guard, less patient, stepped forward. This is wasting time. The law is clear. She goes back to the Zircon Quarter. He reached for SEO-YEON. But Jung-hoon blocked his arm, his stance firm, his eyes hard. You'll have to move me first. Gasps ran through the crowd. A human boy defying Zarkonian guards? Punishment was certain. Chun's face turned white. Jung-hoon, stop. You'll doom us all. Sarah grabbed Seo-yeon's hand, pulling her close. Run if they grab me, she whispered fiercely. But Seo-yeon shook her head, tears in her eyes. I won't leave you. Before the guard could advance again, a new voice cut through the tense air. Enough. The crowd parted as an older Zarkonian in a dark robe approached, flanked by aides. His eyes gleamed like steel, his presence commanding. Whispers spread. A Counselor Zarkon, one of the city's senior arbiters. His word carried weight even over the guards. What is this noise in my district? He demanded. His gaze swept over Sarah, Jung-hoon, Chun, Seo-yeon, and then finally Zex. Explain. Zex hurried forward, eager. Counselor, these humans are breaking the law. They're keeping gutter trash and calling her a princess. They defy your guards. The counselor raised an eyebrow. Then he looked at Sarah. And what do you say, child? Sarah's knees trembled, but she lifted her chin. I say she's more than you think. I say she deserves dignity. And if you can't see that, then maybe you're the blind ones, not her. The bazaar gasped as though struck. Chun covered his face with his hand, but the counselor didn't strike her down. He studied her for a long, uncomfortable moment. Finally, his lips curved slightly. A bold tone, dangerous, but his eyes slid towards Seo-yeon. There is something unusual about her. That silver gaze? Not entirely gutter blood. The guards glanced at each other. Uneasy. Sarah didn't understand, but she tightened her grip on Seo-yeon's hand. She's mine to protect. That's all that matters. The counselor chuckled softly. Yours? Very well. If you wish to protect your princess, then let it be so. But protection carries burden. He turned to the guards. Do not touch them. Let us see where this defiance leads. The crowd erupted with whispers. Some were outraged, others curious. Zex gaped. Counselor, you can't. Silence, Zarkon snapped, his voice like iron. Zex bit his tongue, his face twisted with rage. The counselor's gaze returned to Sarah. Remember this, child. Words have power. You've made a claim in public, and I will not forget it. If your princess fails, your shame will be yours to bear. With that, he turned and strode away, the guards following reluctantly. The tension in the air broke, replaced by a storm of whispers. Chun grabbed Sarah's arm, his voice shaking with fury. Do you know what you've done? You've put us under his eye. This isn't just trade anymore, it's survival. Sarah didn't flinch. She looked at Seo-yeon, who stared back at her with tears shining like stars. And she whispered again, softly but with unshakable conviction, You're a princess, and no one will ever make me see you as less. Seo-yeon clung to her hand, and for the first time, she believed it. The days after the counselor's decree were filled with whispers. In every corner of the bazaar, merchants spoke of the human girl who called a gutter child a princess. Some laughed, some scorned, But others began to wonder if maybe the human's eyes had seen something true. Chun kept Sarah close, terrified of the risk. "You don't understand, Sarah," he whispered late at night. "We live here by their permission. One wrong step, and they crush us. Do you want our family destroyed for a stranger?" But Sarah only shook her head. "She's not a stranger. She's Iseo Yeon, and she's mine to protect." Yung-hoon, watching quietly, said nothing, but his loyalty was clear. Every day he walked beside Sarah, keeping an eye out for Zex and his gang. Zex, meanwhile, boiled with rage. How dare a human girl steal attention from him? How dare she turn gutter trash into something higher? He schemed, whispering to guards, spreading lies that Seo Yeon was dangerous, that she carried disease, that she was cursed. His last trick was crueler than all the others. He planned to drive her out once, and for all Dot, it came on the night of the lantern market. The bazaar was bright with glowing orbs, colors reflecting on the glass walls. Families shopped, music floated through the air. Sarah brought Seo Yeon, wanting her to see something beautiful instead of shadows. The white cloth still draped around Seo Yeon's shoulders, and though she walked timidly, there was a new light in her eyes. "You see?" Sarah whispered. "This is your world, too. Not just scraps." Seo Yeon smiled softly, her silver eyes catching the lantern glow. For the first time, she almost looked like the princess Sarah had named her. But then the shout came. Zex's voice. "There! The cursed girl. She steals food. She spreads filth." Guards turned, their torches blazing. The crowd pulled back, murmuring. Zex stepped forward, dragging a small bundle. With a dramatic motion, he tore it open. Inside were scraps of rotten food, bones, and dirt. He flung them at Seo Yeon's feet. "Look, this is what she eats. This is what she is." The crowd gasped. Seo Yeon froze, shame flooding her face. She bent instinctively, as though to clean the scraps, as though to prove she was what he said. But Sarah darted forward, grabbing her shoulders. "No, don't. Look at me." Seo Yeon trembled. "They'll hate me. They'll see me as nothing." Sarah shook her head fiercely. Her voice rang across the market, clear as a bell. "No, listen to me, all of you." She turned on the crowd, her small figure standing tall. "You see scraps, because that's what you expect. But I see a child who deserves more. I see a girl who is brave, who survived when no one helped her. I see a princess. And if you can't see that, then maybe you're the ones eating scraps, not her." A hush fell. The guards shifted uncertainly. The crowd whispered, but this time their eyes were different. Some nodded. A woman at a fruit stall whispered, "She is brave." A man selling fabrics muttered, "She's still a child." Maybe the human is right. Seo Yeon's tears fell, but they were not just of shame. Sarah wiped her cheek. "Princesses don't bow to lies. Stand tall, Seo Yeon. Show them who you are." Slowly, Seo Yeon straightened. She let the dirty scraps fall from her hands and lifted her chin. The lantern light glowed in her silver eyes, turning them into stars. For the first time, she didn't look broken. She looked radiant. Counselor Zarkon appeared again, his robe dark against the lantern glow. He had been watching. His voice carried through the market. The human child speaks boldly again. And this time, his eyes rested on Seo Yeon. "I believe her." The guards bowed their heads. Zex's face twisted in shock. "Counselor, she's gutter trash." "Silence," Zarkon thundered. "Even gutter soil can hide a gem. This girl is no dog. She is under my protection now." Seo Yeon gasped, her hand clutching Sarah's tightly. The crowd erupted in whispers, some angry, but many awed. Sean exhaled, torn between fear and pride. Jung-hoon smiled faintly, resting a hand on Sarah's shoulder. The counselor's eyes narrowed at Zex. As for you, mockery of the weak is cowardice. Begone from my sight. Zex paled, his power shattered. He fled into the crowd, his laughter gone. Z a Archon turned back. Child, he said to Sarah, your eyes see what others do not. Humanity has a strange gift calling worth out of nothing. Remember that. And with that, he left, but his decree remained like fire in the air. Seo Yeon was no longer a scrap-eater. She was seen. Later, when the bazaar quieted, Seo Yeon whispered to Sarah, her voice breaking, "Why do you keep calling me a princess?" Sarah smiled, pulling the cloth tighter around her. "Because you are. And one day, the whole world will see it too." Seo Yeon's tears fell again, but this time they were tears of hope. She leaned into Sarah's embrace, holding on as though she had finally found a home. And in that moment, humanity had done what no council decree, no law, no power could ever do: turn scraps into dignity and a broken child into a princess.